My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, we're finally doing it. I am digging deep into the past in this video, deep into my shame. I'm going to be going through everything I bought at Sephora in the year of 2017, which was the year before I started my YouTube channel. It was also the year before my no-buy year. If you're new here, welcome. I am Hannah. I love beautiful things, but I used to have an out-of-control spending habit. My first year on YouTube, as I said, was 2018, and that was a no-buy year for me. And it was a journey because I discovered as I went through that year that I had been using shopping as a kind of emotional survival mechanism. I was in the habit of turning to the purchase of products, especially beauty products, as a way of turning away from a life that I didn't feel like was beautiful or special enough. Consequently, my journey away from overspending has been a journey towards loving the life that I have and letting it be just as it is. So on my channel, I share my love and appreciation for beautiful things, but I try not to get carried away and forget that life, as hard as it often is inherently beautiful and doesn't need to be escaped or fixed, especially not at the expense of financial health. So if that sounds good to you, I hope that you will subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. If you follow my friend Lauren May Beauty, first of all, if you don't follow my friend Lauren May Beauty, you must. I'll obviously link her channel down below. But if you do follow her, as I suspect almost all of you do, then you'll know that this video was somewhat inspired by her. She has a series where she goes back and examines her old Sephora purchases, so I owe a lot of this idea to her. And I also owe the fact that I'm doing this video to my friend Simbri. She has a gorgeous Instagram account. I will link that below too. If you are glad that I'm doing this video, then you can thank Simbri by going and following her on Instagram, because she has been pressing me to film this video and she has not let up. And I'm really glad that she did that because I have wanted to do it. It's just a lot. You'll see as we go through, it's a lot. It's digging into some icky stuff, and of course it's embarrassing. And as it moves further and further into my past, I feel less and less ashamed of my behavior before my no-buy year. I know where it was coming from. I understand why I was behaving that way. I've been doing a lot of work on self-forgiveness, but it's still a lot to just like actually get into my account and look at all of the stuff I bought and remember that Hannah, like get back in touch with that version of myself. On the Sephora website, you can no longer access your yearly spend totals over your lifetime. So you used to be able to go back and see like, how much did you spend in 2017? How much did you spend in 2018, 2016? You used to be able to look at like all of that data and it was all added up for you in the account. They recently changed it. So I think that we currently only have access to our spend total on the Sephora website for 2019. I think it might not even go back to 2018 at this point, or if it does, it definitely doesn't go back to 2017 because I tried to get that information and I couldn't. So what I have done is just scrolled down through all of my past purchases at Sephora, and so I'm going to be looking at each purchase at a time, but it's going to be less data oriented, like less about the totals and how much everything cost, and more about just the things that I bought. So I scrolled down and down and down and down in my Sephora account to the first purchase that I made in 2017, and it hadn't been very long since my last purchase, which was on December 31st at Sephora Briarwood. So on the last day of the year in 2016, on the day that was New Year's Eve day, I went shopping by myself at the mall, which was in Ann Arbor where I used to live. I was there for graduate school. And the year of 2017 that I'm going to be talking about was half in Ann Arbor and half in LA. So we'll see that as we go through. But the Briarwood Sephora, which is in the mall in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I was in graduate school, a lot of these purchases were made there. And I can see from my account that I spent that last day of the year, at least part of it, by myself at the mall in Sephora, which was something that I did all the time back then. And looking back on it, it feels very sad to me that I was just like, oh, this is what I'd rather be doing today. Anyway, so just 12 days later, on January 12th, I made a purchase from Sephora.com. And the thing that shocks me about this is that I only bought one thing, and it was the Dr. Jart Sisapare Tiger Grass Color Correcting Treatment, which is an SPF 30 face cream that they say sort of like changes to beige as you put it on, but it's like a green to beige. And I did use this as like a foundation product for a really long time back in the day. I'm not sure I ever talked about it on my channel because this predated my channel by like a year. But I liked putting it on and seeing the sort of greenish white color cancel out my redness. And then supposedly it turned to a beige color. It took me a long time to realize that when it changed color, it was turning too dark for me. At that time, it was what I would now call a replacement. It was like a staple product that I would go through every couple of months. But into my cart, I also added all of these point perks and samples, a Tom Ford perfume sample, a point perk that was a deluxe sample of a fresh mask, Clinique foaming facial soap in a little packet, and a Guerlain oil treatment in a little packet. Like, it was like 5 things in my order, but only one of them had I purchased. And it's just shocking to me to look back at that now, because these days when I order something from Sephora, I almost never put any point perks unless it's something I'm really, really interested in. And I never put any samples because I just hate the feeling of swimming in these little one-time use makeup and skincare things. I look at this and it's a record of me just like voraciously wanting to get as much stuff as possible so that I could like stuff it into my life and feel like I had gotten stuff. Oh God, here we go. Okay, so the next purchase is 2 days later, January 15th at Sephora Briarwood, the mall. So I had physically gone to the mall before my order had even arrived from Sephora.com, because I placed the order on the 12th. I guess 3 days later, I had gone to Sephora and purchased the Sun & Park Beauty Water, which was like a toner, and the Makeup Raw Sauce, which was like a viscous essence. I remember this time I was just like always looking for more fancy skincare products that would help with my dry skin and my acne, and constantly trying new ones and buying new ones before I had even used up the other ones. I probably just went to Sephora on this day because I just felt that itch. I was just trying to get out of the house, trying to get out of my brain, trying to escape, trying to feel good. And I ended up buying these 2 pretty pricey skincare products that added up to $60. And I also spent 100 points on another fresh face mask. Oh my gosh. So the next order is January 20th, just 5 days later. I placed an order from Sephora.com. This is how bad it was, you guys, before my no-buy year. I appear to have placed this order from Sephora.com in order to buy a tiny bottle of Cinema Secrets makeup brush cleaner. So I was just getting into watching YouTube, or had been since several months before in like late 2016. And everyone was like, you need brush cleaner. I was just even starting to like have makeup brushes and take care of them. And so I purchased the Cinema Secrets Makeup Brush Cleaner Pro Starter Kit for $25 from Sephora. Once again, that was the only purchase. I placed an order of one item for $25, and in the box there was that one item, and there was also 2 perfume samples, a point perk that was Tarte under eye gel patches, a point perk that was a Clinique eye cream, and another perfume sample. So 6 items came in that box. I'd only purchased one thing. I was just placing the order to get a bunch of crap. The next order was a week later on January 28th. I placed another order at Sephora.com. So this was the end of January, and this is the 4th time I had shopped at Sephora. I replaced my vitamin C serum, which at that time was the SEPHORA day serum from Drunk Elephant. And that's something that I remained very loyal to through half of my no-buy year. So at the beginning of my no-buy year, I was like, I'm not going to buy anything new, but I am going to allow myself to replace my staple skincare items, because I had struggled with acne my whole adult life. And I firmly believed at that time that the only thing that was keeping my acne under control was me spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars all the time on really fancy skincare. I felt like this vitamin C serum from Drunk Elephant was like the only good one on the market, and that it was totally worth it to spend $80 every couple of months on it. halfway through my no-buy year, when I saw how much money I was actually spending on that skincare, my tune completely changed, and now I've become like an affordable skincare queen. So the vitamin C serum that I currently use is from Timeless. It costs $20. It lasts like 6 months, and I feel like it's every bit as good as SEPHORA, if not better for me for a number of reasons. I spent $80 on this serum at the end of January of 2017. I totally understand why I did that, because I did it every couple of months for a couple of years. I also appear to have purchased, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? The Eve Lom Morning Time Cleanser. This is a $60 facial cleanser that was 4 ounces. So not tiny, but for a cleanser, I mean, I probably went through it in a couple of months. A $60 facial cleanser that I was just gonna rub into my skin and then wash down the drain every morning. And I was very seduced by the fact that it was like the morning cleanser that's supposed to like invigorate your skin. If you've watched any of my skincare routine videos, you know that these days I just rinse my face in the morning. I don't even wash it with any kind of cleanser in the morning. I just wash off the skincare from the night before. So it's really shocking to look at this receipt and see that I spent $60 on a morning cleanser. It's so amazing. So I purchased a Dr. Jart hydrogel mask. I was always buying sheet masks back then. A Marc Jacobs mascara, the Omega Lash Volumizing Mascara, which I vaguely remember arriving to me completely dry. Like, I actually think that I returned that product. I think I remember that. I tried it out. I had a sample and it had been great, and then I ordered the full size and it was total garbage and I returned it. More expensive skincare, I purchased the mini of the Sunday Riley Tidal Brightening Enzyme Water Cream, which is a lovely cream. It's just these days way too rich for my blood. There are just so many facial creams that do the same thing that are way, way less expensive. But it was $22 for 0.5 ounces. These days I would think twice about spending $22 on like 5 ounces of night cream. I feel like even that would be a lot. So it's really, really nuts that I did that. There's also another Dr. Jart sheet mask in here. Again, I was always stocking up on them. And a Ren Evercalm mask. So this was a very pricey purchase from Sephora. Again, they don't have the totals on here because I'm just looking at the order history, or the product order history, rather than what they used to have, which is like the actual order history with all of your specific receipts. But it was like $80, $60, $26, $22. It must have been close to, if not over, $200. Holy bananas, you guys. The next order was February 6th. A week later, I went in person. This one's at Sephora Briarwood. I went in person, I went shopping, and I bought a bunch more stuff. And actually, so one of the things on this list is the ABH Modern Renaissance eyeshadow palette. I purchased this as a gift for a friend. I was going to be going up to Portland for Valentango in mid-February. Not up to Portland. I was in Michigan, so I was planning to fly to Portland for this Valentine's Tango Festival to sell tango clothes. I was going to be staying with my friend Julene, and I wanted to get her a present. And I didn't own the Modern Renaissance palette at that time, but I knew that it was supposed to be like the most iconic release of 2016. Everyone was raving about it in the videos that I was watching. So I got it as a gift for Julene. And I would bet that I went to Sephora on this occasion under the pretense of buying this gift for Julene. I can just totally see myself saying to Joe, oh, it's the weekend, I'm gonna go to Sephora. I've gotta get something for Julene to give her as a gift because I'm gonna be staying with her in Portland. And then I was like, mwah, ha, 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 ha. And I like spent an hour in Sephora and bought myself a bunch of stuff too, which I clearly did do. So I got the Nars Sheer Glow Foundation, which actually was a tool for my photo shoots. I never really wore that in real life. But I also bought myself 2 brushes, a concealer brush from the Sephora collection, a tapered brush from the Sephora collection. Why? I don't even think I own those brushes anymore. I also got myself I remember this product, the IGK Down and Out Dirty Spray. Do you remember me talking about that so much during my no-buy year? It was the first really texturizing spray, like really intense texturizing spray that I ever tried, and I loved it. And I bet that this moment when I bought the mini, I bet that that was the first time I tried it, and I fell completely in love with it. So yeah, I had a long relationship with that product, and it's funny to see that this was the moment of its genesis. But between the foundation, the palette for Julene, the dirty spray, the brushes, this was probably another at least $100, if not more than $100 order, just a week after the order I had placed online for about $200. The next order is February 18th. Good for me. I went, what, like 10 days rather than just 1 week before going to Sephora again. To be totally honest, I had forgotten. I had forgotten that I was shopping at Sephora every single week. I think if you had asked me to recount the tales of my life at this time, I might have remembered, but I hadn't really remembered. It's just shocking. Okay, so on February 18th, we were getting close to my birthday. Maybe I was feeling kind of special about myself because we were getting close to my birthday, but then again, I'd been behaving this way all year so far. So I purchased a mini of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer. You know, I do remember buying a mini of the Ambient Lighting powder, the setting powder. Maybe they just transposed that with this one in my order history because I don't remember owning this product, but I very well could have. It was a long time ago and I'm getting old. I also purchased the Shiseido facial cottons. I used those for a long time before I purchased the reusable washable cotton rounds that I use now. So you'll probably see me replace them several times over the course of this video. I bought a Stila Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadow in the color Smoky Storm. I loved that stuff. I loved the Stila Glitter and Glow. It was like my first glitters. It was like my first usable glitters. And you guys remember, they were incredibly popular at this time. And on this visit, I bought myself the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance eyeshadow palette. I had bought it for Julene. I had taken it to her and I just couldn't stand it. I wanted it for myself. So 10 days later, and it must have been, I must have gone to Portland and then come back and gone straight to Sephora and bought myself the palette. So maybe I was giving myself too much credit for having had 10 days pass between the most recent shopping trip and this one. It was probably because I had spent most of those 10 days traveling and I hadn't had a chance to go to Sephora. I also bought another really expensive skincare product that I used to purchase and repurchase, the Drunk Elephant TLC Sukari Baby Facial, which is a great exfoliating mask. I mean, it is great. I do think this is a fantastic product. It's just not worth the $80 to me anymore. But again, $80 on that, $42 on the palette, $24 on the Stila Glitter and Glow, $25 on the Hourglass thing, $12 on the cottons. I also bought a sheet mask. Again, I was always throwing sheet masks into my cart. This was clearly well over $100. Well, might even have been closer to a $200 order again. And then on February 25th, which was not that long after, I went to Sephora and I purchased the Yves Saint Laurent Rouge Volupte Shine Lipstick Balm for $38. And the Nars Velvet Matte Lipstick Pencil in Endangered Red, which has since been decluttered because there was a dupe of it in my collection. But I do love the Nars Velvet Matte Lip Pencil formula, and I was always going and like buying new colors of those back in the day. Curiously, the YSL product, the Rouge Volupte Shine Balm, I shortly thereafter returned it. And it was because I felt guilty about buying it. I was always doing this. It'll be interesting to see how many other things we come across on this list that I bought and then returned. At that time, I didn't really consider the purchases to be final because Sephora in the US, you can return anything pretty much. I never, ever do that anymore because I know that that mindset of having the purchases just be sort of like to try the thing out and always having the door open for the option of return, that mindset was part of what caused me to always spend so much money. So if I was at Sephora and I was trying to decide, I would be like, oh, like, should I spend the $40 on this luxury lip balm? And I'd be like, well, I'll just get it and then I can decide at home. And I can start wearing it, and if it doesn't feel worth it, I can just return it. I was always saying that to myself in Sephora, and employees would say it to me too. I would be like, should I get this? It's so expensive. And they'd be like, just get it. You can always return it. And because I was doing that every time, and then I was getting like $100 totals, $200 totals, buying all of this stuff, even though I occasionally did return something. Occasionally the guilt would get the better of me and I would return like a $40 YSL lip product and just be like, phew, got my money back. It's okay. It's not that bad. I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on products under the aspersions of being able to return them that I then didn't return. And so it really was just a way of tricking myself into buying more stuff and spending more money and just feeling like it wasn't as grave of an issue as it actually was. So seeing this product that I know I later returned reminds me of how much of a habit that was. The next order is also on February 25th, but it's an order from Sephora.com. So I went to the store, I purchased these lip products, and then I went home and I placed another order online. And in that online order, I purchased the YSL mascara, which why hadn't I just bought it in the store? I don't know. Maybe they didn't have it in the store. I purchased it in burgundy. I was really into burgundy mascara for a long time in 2017 and 2018. So maybe that was it. Maybe they didn't have it in the store and I went home and I purchased it. But then I threw all of this crap into the cart as well. So the two of those little like cards with the little sample bubbles in them, those like blister packs of samples. There's a YSL one, a Givenchy one. I guess this is a point perk of Christophe Robin shampoo, a point perk of Dr. Brandt lip plumper, a Bite multi-stick blister pack, 3 of those abhorrent blister packs of like samples of lip products I ordered. You can kind of see what I'm driving at with the year of less stuff, because I used to be so insatiable. It was just like I would go home from Sephora and place an online order for one mascara so that I could get seven little things in the mail. One, basically what it looks like to me now, one mascara and 7 pieces of trash. But at that time it was just like more is more. The next order is on March 4th. Just a few days later, I went to Briarwood again. This video is going to be so long, you guys. We're only at March. And what is this, like my 9th Sephora order in 2017? We're only at March. The Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray. I'm sure that was just something I'd learned about on YouTube. I repurchased the Dr. Jart Sisapare cream, and it was the beginning of March. And the last time I'd purchased it had been the beginning of January. That means that it was lasting me 2 months at a time for one jar. I purchased on this day a Viktor and Rolf Flower Balm perfume, but it was a gift for a friend. That's part of what's on here. It was her birthday coming up, and I knew she loved that perfume, so I got that for her. I bought the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in American Doll Classic Blue Red, and I remember exactly why I purchased this. It was because of Jaclyn Hill's, I think it was like a Cruella de Vil makeup tutorial. It must have been from Halloween of 2016. And she wore this exact lipstick, ABH American Doll liquid lipstick. This was probably my first ever straight up traditional dry down liquid lipstick. And I almost never wore it because it was just such a horrible formula. But I loved that color, and it was one of those things where I saw Jaclyn Hill put it on and I was like, I have to have that. And I went and bought it with $20 of my own money. I also purchased the ABH Metallic Luster Liner on that trip because I was at the ABH display. I saw the liner, I swatched it, and I was like, I have to have this too. And I still own that liner. That is in my little tiny edited collection of makeup that I owned before my no buy year. That's pretty funny to see. There's another product from this shopping trip that I still own. That's the Nars Velvet Matte Lipstick Pencil in Pussy Control. And I also picked up another eye cream, 100 Point Perk eye cream. But that's a lot of things, like $52, $55, $27, $20, $18. Again, it's like well over $100. $150 probably for this order on March 4th. Then I went home and I placed an order online. The next one was also on March 4th. And what even did I buy? Okay, so an Eve Lom mask. The Eve Lom Rescue Mask, which is a very sulfurous clay mask that's designed for acneic skin. It's supposed to be like a magical rescue your skin from acne. I must have been struggling badly with acne at that time, and I probably was at Sephora and I was like, I want the Eve Lom Rescue Mask, and they probably didn't have it. So I went home and I placed an online order for it. But I also bought the Phyto Dry Hair Moisturizing Scalp Exfoliating Shampoo. I don't even remember having that. It's weird that it says that I bought that because I don't remember having that. It could be a thing where they, again, sort of switched it for something similar in the order history. Maybe I bought it as a gift for a friend who had dry skin or a dry scalp or something like that. I could have seen myself doing that. Someone who had asked me about products like that, and then I just like went and bought it for a gift. That's the kind of thing that I used to do because I was like addicted not just to buying stuff for myself, but to buying stuff in general. And then there are 3 little sample pack things also in that order. So 5 things came in the mail in that box. This makes me wonder like how many individual items I had purchased. I'm just gonna count really quickly. I'm scrolling down to the beginning of the year and I'm gonna count. So by March 4th of 2017, I had acquired 57 separate pieces, 57 individual items, either by buying them or by getting them as like point perks and stuff, just from Sephora specifically. What was my life? Like, I mean, I know what my life was. A lot of you know too. Like, you know how you get caught in this cycle. The thing that shocks me is that I never took a step back and like looked at my order history and looked at my bank account and faced the music. It just felt like it would have been too painful to do that. And so it wasn't until the end of this year that I managed to do that. It's just bananas. All right, the next order is on March 7th from Sephora.com. Just 3 days later, 3 days since I had gone to the store and also placed an order online. It's more acne stuff. So the Clinique Acne Solutions Clinical Clearing Gel, which is a great straight up salicylic acid gel that I used for a long time. I probably, again, was just trying to buy anything and everything that I thought would help with my acne. I also put in there some point perks. All the rest of it is point perks. A Clarins eye concentrate, a Smashbox lid primer, an Origins mask, a Givenchy mascara mini, a Marc Jacobs lipstick mini, a Tatcha cream sample, a Good Jeans sample, and 2 perfume samples. So I placed this order on March 7th. I spent $27 on the acne gel and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other little dinky things came along in the package with it. So then I went to the store on March 10th, just 2 days later, and I purchased the Natasha Denona Blush Duo in colorway 15, which was sheer nude, had a peach shimmer on one side and a terracotta cream sheen on the other. This is another makeup product that I later returned. Not because I didn't like it, but because I was ashamed of myself for spending so much money, and I just picked it out of the things I had bought recently as the thing that I could return without being too sad about it and get some of my money back, just to put a band-aid on the guilt that I had for spending so much money and buying so much stuff. So I bought that blush duo on this shopping trip. I also bought what was probably my first serious pair of false lashes, the Huda Beauty Scarlet Lashes, number 8, high volume dramatic style. Those were $20. And at that time, I was wearing false lashes I started wearing false lashes for the Poema shoot almost every week and really enjoying that. And I do really like the Huda lashes, I have to say, but I haven't worn false lashes in a really long time, and I haven't bought them in a really long time either. I also bought a Marc Jacobs Highliner, the Marc Jacobs gel eyeliner on this shopping trip. I have never been a collector of eyeliner. Even at this time, I was kind of an eyeliner minimalist, and I used to just have one and use it until it was used up and then get another one. And this is interesting. I purchased the color Au Vert. It was like a green, a shimmery green. And that was a really great eyeliner era for me. I really liked having this deep shimmery green eyeliner as my only eyeliner. I like wore it all the time with any look to any occasion. It was my neutral, and it was pretty cool. These days I would not spend $26 on a Marc Jacobs eyeliner. But I'm not mad at my past self for having done that. And then all the rest of the garbage that's on this receipt is point perks and stuff. So I had a Stila liquid lipstick that was like another bright red liquid lipstick. Why did I get that as a point perk when I just bought ABH American Doll? I remember it was maybe another friend's birthday, and I was picking up a bunch of doubling up on point perks so I could give some away to her. So I got 2 of this Origins clay mask point perk, 3 Sunday Riley Good Jeans point perks. I was there in person, so I was like, can I just spend 300 point perks and get 3 of the same? And they were like, yeah. And then this Clinique Chubby Stick Sculpting Highlight, I got 1 for me and 1 for my friend. So all told, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 items I acquired, and I had just purchased 3 of them: the blush, the lashes, and the eyeliner. Next trip to Sephora was on March 15th. Just 5 days later, I purchased the First Aid Beauty Facial Radiance Pads, which I actually still maintain that those are a really good, like, entry-level exfoliating acid product. They're easier to use because they're pads. I don't love pads like that in general because they just aren't as good for the environment as like a toner that you pat in with your hands because you're creating waste. But I have recommended those First Aid Beauty Facial Radiance Pads to many, many friends when they've come to me and been like, my skincare game is non-existent. And then I find out that they don't have any acids in their routine. And they're like, well, what even is acid? How do I even start? I'm always like, start with the First Aid Beauty Facial Radiance Pads. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback. And back in the day, I did use them. I would often buy them if I felt like I needed to put an acid into my routine and I didn't know or didn't like have a different one that I wanted to try. I bought that. I bought the Tata Harper Regenerating Exfoliating Cleanser for $42. My feelings about the price of cleansing products have changed so much that it's particularly painful to see the record of myself having spent like $60, $40, $50 on cleansers because I know I just used them up. I just used them up, cleansed my face, washed them all down the drain. It's like $40 down the drain as far as I'm concerned. The last item that I purchased on that day, on March 15th, is something that lasted for a really, really long time and was probably a good investment. It was the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear color corrector. So it's expensive to buy. It's $31, but it's a very, very, very concentrated green color corrector. It lasted me, I think, through almost to the end of my no-buy year. So that means it lasted almost 2 years because it was so incredibly concentrated. That is a very good color correcting product. It's just a little bit harder to work with than the serum-y ones that I now prefer. My next trip to Sephora was on March 21st. Just 6 days later. Oh no, this is an online order. So 6 days later, I placed another online order. I purchased the Lash Food Conditioning Collagen Lash Primer. Why? I don't know. I just probably became obsessed with getting something that would make my lashes grow better. And I purchased the Becca Mineral Blush in Songbird, which I then later returned. That was another thing that I just, in a moment of contrition, I was like, I'll return that blush and get my $32 back. Interesting. The Caudalie Moisturizing Mask for $40. I loved that mask. That was a very moisturizing mask, but $40 for a cream mask that I probably only got something like 10 uses out of, and then it was gone. Very bad value for money. Oh, interesting. In this order, I also purchased a silk pillowcase from Slip. It's like a classic example of the kind of luxury item that I probably wouldn't buy myself today, but I still have it. It's the silk pillowcase that I still use on my bed. It's very nice. I'm not mad at past Hannah for buying it because I'm glad that I have it now, but if I had it to do over again, I probably wouldn't buy it again. So that was another really expensive trip. The silk pillowcase is almost $90, and then the other 2 products added up to something like $70. Nuts. So I placed that order on March 21st, and then 4 days later, on March 25th, I went physically to Sephora and I purchased 2 blushes and 2 hair products. So the blushes that I purchased, I actually remember this exact trip to Sephora. I had used up the blushes that had been sort of like my standard blushes, and I didn't have that much makeup at this time. I felt like I needed to refresh my blush collection, and I went there on a mission to do that. Sorry, I just had to turn the camera off for a second and then turn it back on, and then our rice cooker started making a weird noise, so I had to get up and check on it. But I think I was about to say that the weird thing is that I had just placed that Sephora order on the 21st that included a blush. So I had purchased a blush online, and then before that order had even arrived, I went in person to Sephora and shopped for more blush and bought 2 more blushes. And then after the order did arrive, at some point I returned Songbird to Sephora. So I think what I remember happening is that I was like, I really want new blush. And I bought Songbird online because I thought that maybe it would be good. And then when I had time, I went in person to Sephora and I swatched Songbird in person and decided that I didn't actually want it. And then I shopped around for more blushes, and then when it actually arrived, I returned it. And I actually do remember that I returned Songbird without swatching it. I remember taking it back and being like, I haven't touched this. It's perfectly untouched. It's brand new. You can resell it. Again, trying to like assuage my own guilt for doing this like switcheroo back and forth, always having like makeup in escrow and like returns coming back to me and using that as an excuse to engage in this behavior. So I was trying to sort of somehow make it okay, even though it just wasn't. The blushes that I ended up with on this trip were Givenchy Aficionado Peach, which is one of the best blushes I've ever owned. It was a pretty strong, bright peach, even though it was a very, very natural formula. It was a pretty strong, bright peach, and shortly after this, I think my taste started turning to more nude blushes, and I never got as much use out of that blush as I feel like it merited, given what a beautiful formula it was. And I did end up donating it to Project Beauty Share just this year. The other blush I bought on that day was Nars Amore, which is a peachy pink, and I have no idea. I was about to say I have no idea why I bought it. I do know why I bought it. It was because I was in Sephora for so long on that day that I psyched myself into that mental place of just not being able to make good decisions. And I just bought it, even though I didn't really want it. I wanted to buy something like it in theory, and it was like the closest thing to the theory. And so I just bought it. I was buying it to make the purchase, buying it to buy a Nars thing rather than buying the actual blush. And I almost never used it because it was this peachy pink that I didn't really like. And I ended up decluttering it really a long time ago. I didn't own it for very long, but I didn't return it. I kept it. I kept the fantasy alive, and then eventually I was just like, I'm never going to wear this blush, and I gave it away. That was an expensive trip though. I purchased the two blushes. The Givenchy one was $46. The Nars one was $30. I also purchased the Way dry shampoo foam on that trip. Very bad choice. I tried to make it work for a long time, and I did eventually, I think, use it up pretty much. But then when I moved on to actual spray dry shampoos, I was like, that foam did not have it going on. I also purchased the full-size bottle of the Christophe Robin Regenerating Shampoo with Prickly Pear Seed Oil, a $40 shampoo that didn't really have any merits like thickening or texturizing or all the things that I care about in a shampoo now. It was just fancy seeming, and I had had a sample of it and I had liked the sample, and I just wanted something fancy. And I already had shampoo at that point. I know that. That's one of the weird things about looking back over this, is that I didn't start doing a replacement style decision making with new stuff until my no-buy year. So I bought this $40 bottle of shampoo, even though I already had shampoo at home. And now, from where I'm sitting now, that seems like a crazy bananas decision. But again, that's like the $30 dry shampoo, $40 shampoo, $45 blush, and a $30 blush. That's nuts. And you guys, that's the end of March. So the next order up is in April. But I am going to end this video. It's going to have to be a series spread out over a number of videos. I'm ending it for some reasons that are logistical, just in my home. Joe's about to make lunch and it would just be too noisy. And also I'm out of steam, and also if I did it all in one video, I'm now seeing it would be like 2 hours long. So I'm gonna break it up into maybe 3 videos. Like this will be one, maybe I'll do one more and then another one after that, just to give my voice a break and to give you guys a break. It's kind of relentless, it's nuts. But what I will say is that I counted it up, and at the end of March in 2017, I had acquired 95 pieces. That includes all of the point perks and samples and everything, but 95 separate pieces from Sephora. That means that by the end of March, I had caught up to the days of the year. And at that time, I had acquired the equivalent of one thing a day just from Sephora. This is even counting other things that I was probably going out and buying. And those 95 things, I just went over and counted again, were coming from a total of 15 orders. That includes online orders and in-person visits to the store. I had made a purchase of a group of stuff 15 times between January 1st and the end of March, and that breaks down to 5 a month. I went to Sephora or made a purchase at Sephora roughly 5 times a month for the first 3 months of 2017. So it'll be interesting to see as I move through the series how my behavior changed over the course of the year, if it changed, because as I got close to the very end of the year, I knew I was about to start my YouTube channel and I knew I was about to start my no-buy year. So I'll be curious to see like if I bought more some months and less some months, or if it was like this the whole year. I don't know. I haven't gone through yet. And I kind of remember, but I don't remember well enough to know whether there were like tides of my shopping behavior in 2017 before my no-buy year. But we'll find out together in the ensuing videos. And then at the end of the series, I'll kind of like reconnoiter with all of the numbers, and I will also talk about my yearly spend from 2017 and how much it all ended up adding up to. Because even though that information is no longer available on the Sephora website, I do know it because when it was available in 2018, I looked at my 2017 numbers and I remember how much it told me I had spent in 2017. I've never talked about it on my channel, but I am prepared to do so as part of this series. So I will go ahead and film the rest of this as soon as I can get around to it, and hopefully the videos will go up boom, 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 3 in a row on my channel so that you won't have to wait too long. Stay tuned. I hope I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to take extra good care of yourself today so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.